All right. That was exciting. That was. Oh. I love it. Come on. Come on. Awesome. Awesome. Love you guys too. You guys are so awesome. Thank you for that welcoming there. I want to share a little bit about my experience as an entrepreneur. Tell a little bit about my story. You know, my name's Istvan Zsako. I am a husband. I'm married. I've been an entrepreneur. I've started multiple businesses. Recently sold a business. I'm also an author. Also a speaker. I do trainings. I do quite a bit of things, which is just a fancy way of saying I have ADHD. You know? And the nice thing about building companies is recently I got to actually sell a company. And it was quite an amazing experience. But after it sold, I realized how much of my day was actually spent helping customers, supporting my team, you know, the office, and helping them do what they do, and getting drunk with realtors. It's quite a bit. I didn't realize. I think I forgot most of it, you know. And a lot of people ask me what I'm going to do now that I've sold my company. So I actually did buy a house in the Villages. Anybody from Florida? Anybody know where the Villages is? A couple people already know. All right. If you didn't hear about it or might have heard about it, yes, it is a retirement community. I had to do something to make it official. So if you'd like to, you can make your donations in the form of cash or check to Istvan Zsako. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I've been an entrepreneur for 30 years. So in that 30 years, I've gotten to learn a lot. I've gotten to fail a lot and make a lot of mistakes, right? Along the way, build some businesses up. And next month, I might actually get my first paycheck. We can all dream, right? We can all dream. So, you know, one of the worst pieces of advice I've ever heard was do what you love. Do what you love, right? The world says do what you love and you'll be happy. You'll find success. When I did what I loved, my life was spent in the woods, by myself, broke, and sleeping in a tent. And that was for 7 years of my life. No joke. I really did say 7 years. But if you think that's crazy, I actually have been a home inspector for 15. You know, and as a business owner, some of the things that we deal with, you know, there's good moments and there's some tough moments, right? Like when the bank account is empty and you don't have any time for yourself to do the things that you want to do. And then you have this deep feeling of just failing at everything that you're doing. You know, it's kind of like being married. And us business owners get a bad rep with a lot of other people. You know, a lot of people often think business owners suck. You know, they complain about them. They talk about how they don't pay their employees enough, right? Or they don't show up and they're ever in the office and they're letting everybody else do all the work. Or they just care about profits. I'm still trying to figure out what their point is. But, you know, and as being an entrepreneur, another interesting thing is that we develop special sets of skills that other people don't have, right? And one of the biggest one that I've developed, and I keep finding myself doing it, is getting myself into trouble. Anybody ever been there? You know, as a business owner, you do something, and then you ask yourself why you did that again. I don't know. Still learning. But we also get really creative with using unconventional means to solve problems or help our clients. A lot of people say it's thinking out of the box. I don't think so. I think it's winging it, but maybe it's just me. When I was 11 years old, it was Christmas, well, it was after Christmas actually. A little bit about my story, you know, with my life and home. My mother would leave the Christmas tree up until there was gifts under the tree. And sometimes it didn't happen for a while. This year, it was February 2nd, and you can imagine what that tree looked like. We stopped plugging it in because we were worried it'd go up in flames. Yeah. And my mother finally got tired of looking at the tree, and she's like, you and your brother need to do something about this. You get this tree out of here. We're looking at it. You know, I'm 11, he's 15. It's like, we don't know what to do with it. So we're trying to figure this out, that creative process, right? We're like, okay, we could drag it outside, chop it up. Well, we don't have an axe, and we're probably gonna get all cut up. Just moving a green Christmas tree can be dangerous. Imagine when it's brown and crispy. Yeah. So we're thinking, well, we could just break it up right here in the living room. Well, that would make a mess, and we'd still get cut up and scratched. So we're thinking about, we're going to have to move it one way or another. So we decide, sounds like the best thing we can do is move it the shortest distance possible. So we look around, and we come up with a plan. We take that tree, grab it from the base of the stump, and head for the fireplace. We stick it right up in there, set it down, just standing up. You can just imagine standing in the fireplace, and we were so proud of ourselves. We're like, yeah, we're going to take care of this. Got all the pine needles, threw them in there, and we didn't understand pine pitch. Anybody who started fires, pine pitch. But we wanted to make sure this thing burned, so we start wadding up paper, and we're shoving it in the branches, and we're filling it up. We're like, okay, it's time. Strike that match. We're sitting there, the paper starts to start lighting up, and you hear this, like you could hear the fire raging, right? It's just like, we step back and start questioning our life decisions. Oh no, but we can't stop it now. So there's popping, there's embers shooting out. We close the glass doors to try to contain it. And in our neighborhood, if anything went wrong in our neighborhood, they knew it was probably the Zsako kids. So our fear is the neighbors are going to see what's going on. We're like, oh no. So we run outside, we turn around, look back, expecting to see billowing smoke going everywhere. There's no smoke. There's only about a 10-foot flame shooting out with sparks going everywhere. It's like, oh my gosh. Fortunately, it burned up pretty quick. We went back inside, cleaned up the mess, cleaned up the crime scene, went and put on some fresh undies. And then we go tell my mother that, we took care of the tree. Interesting thing is she never asked how we got rid of it. Shocking. Yeah, I didn't tell her till, I was about 30-something when I finally told her what happened to the tree. So these are these interesting skills that we get. As a home inspector, I didn't wake up one day wanting to become a home inspector. I didn't even know what it was when I first even heard about it. It was 2009, it was a Sunday morning, and I'm sitting at church, and suddenly I hear a voice, "You should become a home inspector." Really? What is that? Like, I don't know what the heck that is. And all of a sudden I hear, "I want you to carry my mantle." It's like, okay. It was my buddy Hayden, who was a contractor that got introduced to home inspection, and he was retiring, knew I was a contractor, and felt like I would be the perfect fit, which is really nice. So he introduced me to home inspection, didn't know what it was, got training, got started. And starting a home inspection was amazingly simple. To start it off, I just had to get a business card, I had to build a really nice website, and I had to make sure I had a budget to buy alcohol for realtors. That was it. It just grew from there. It was really exciting. As you become a business owner, one thing that I realized is the amount of junk mail multiplies. At home, you think you get enough credit cards and other things. You become a business owner, it just multiplies, right? We got the email that, we can get you the ERC credit and get $27,000 per employee. Already done that. We can settle your debts with the IRS. Screw them. Victoria's Secret's catalog. Oh, save that for later. And occasionally a check from our friends at Secure 24. Thank you, Trandon. It's like Brandon, but with a T. So customer service is a great skill that we have to develop as well, right? We have to deal with people. And what I found out is the customer is one of the best and one of the worst parts about being in business, right? We got those people who come in, and they're just amazing people that we get to meet, have great conversations. We have other people that we get to find out about great business opportunities. And then we have some clients, they just make you lose faith in humanity. Don't even know what to think about them. And then you have the ones, like out of my home inspector friends, which ones of you have been told that you find too much stuff wrong with a house? Yeah, when will the compliments ever end? I love it. And then our clients like to ask us questions. They'll ask us about the roof, they'll ask us about the heating system. They got all these questions, right? But the most common question I have gotten, and I think they're trying to get me in trouble with the realtors. They'll ask me, would you buy this house? You hired me to come look at it, find everything that's wrong with it, and you're going to ask me if I would buy this house? Hell no. The neighborhood sucks, it's a dump, and I don't want to be responsible for all these repairs. So my usual response to them is, look at that beautiful view out that living room window. Keeps me from getting in trouble with the realtors. And then you got clients that are always asking you for a discount, comparing you to your competitors, right? Or asking you to work at night or on a Sunday. And that's just friends and family. Like, gosh, man, I just don't know. And then you have the other ones that complain about the price. You're too high. You're trying to sell me services that I don't need. Oh, wait, those are home inspectors. Sorry. And then you got the upset clients. Some people complain about upset clients. And what I have found out, those people are very valuable to our business. They actually will help us figure out where we got flaws in our systems, where we can improve our customer service, or when we need to have our competitor's number nearby so we can send them there to book their inspection. Yeah, true thing. I had one client call me one evening, and he said he's got a leak in his sink. And I tell him, go ahead, I'm not going to judge. And then you got the clients that show up and they got beer or wine, or they bring their bong. I'm serious. I'm thinking about this to myself, like, why would they want to get the inspector stoned or intoxicated before doing the inspection? It makes absolutely no sense. I usually wait till after the inspection, then I hit them up. Thank you. And then the realtors. I love the realtors. I really enjoyed meeting the realtors. There's some really interesting people. And then occasionally you got 1, 2, or a couple hundred bad apples. But we have to forgive them. They're trying to build a business too, so, can't hold it against them. And when I meet new realtors that have scheduled inspection, I always like to research who they are. Anybody else do that? You kind of look them up, read their bios, see what their hobbies are, the name of their dog. It's always very personable, right? And they got this photo. It looks like those photos you used to get back in 1995 from the mall at the, glamour shots. And then you go to the inspection, somebody shows up and, like, do they have an assistant, or did they tell their grandmother to come over and open the door? Like, oh, I don't know. Yeah. And then you got some agents that call the home inspector to negotiate the price. I don't understand this one. They'll call, negotiate, and try to get a deal for like $50 or use somebody else because they could save their clients $50. And they call that watching out for their clients. Oh, I don't know about that one, because we all know what happens, right? They move in, they find all sorts of problems. So I worry about those ones. And then you got the agents that follow you around. They're worried you're going to miss something, so they're constantly over your shoulder, and they're asking you questions and trying to point out stuff and distract you the whole time. That makes absolutely no sense. That one really confuses me. And I've pissed off a couple realtors along the way. I said something I shouldn't. They asked me, should you really have to put that in the report? And I have one realtor who actually stopped using me because I prayed for somebody. True story. The Bible does say that we'll be persecuted for our beliefs, so I must be doing something right if I'm getting persecuted, so thank you, Jesus. I had one realtor. This was awkward. I show up to the house. She starts walking me around. It's only us there. And she's showing me the house, and then she starts telling me about an article she read recently where somebody was sexually assaulted at a showing. I was like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. So I back off. I'm like, I'm going to give you space, make sure you feel comfortable around me. And as we're walking around, suddenly she turns to me and says, I wish something like that would happen to me. What? Look at that water stay in the ceiling. I need to go check out the roof. It's like, I just avoided the question. I learned there are some things you just act like you don't hear. And I learned how to do that watching the White House press secretary. Yeah, and as a home inspector, it's real interesting too. We become the scapegoat for the transaction, right? Everything that we should have told them, we didn't see, that we missed, that shows up 3 years later, right? And we're the ones to blame for it. It's kind of like, the mainstream media blaming the last administration for problems that just started last week. Just crazy. I don't know, but they keep doing it. And then marketing. Marketing can be fun, but it's really interesting. Most of our competitors don't like to do it. They say, oh, I just don't feel like, I feel like I'm always selling myself, and I don't want to be selling people. Well, I've seen my competitors. I'd have a hard time selling them, too. Yeah. And then they won't spend any money to market. They won't spend any money to sponsor events. They won't spend money to buy equipment to add other ancillary services to grow their business. Man, I love my competition. I love them. And then the sellers. These days, you got to watch the sellers. The sellers are now putting cameras everywhere, right? They want to know what's going on in their house. What did the home inspector find? It's like once you're ready to talk to your client, you're like, let's go outside so we can have a private conversation, right? It's just crazy. I've seen them even try to set us up where they'll actually leave money out in the nightstand. I've seen money under sinks. I found gold coins in the air ducts, places they shouldn't be. I'm just like, they know I'm going to be going through the house, right? And then the really, really tricky ones, pull out the big guns, they'll put the Tickle Me Elmo right on the bed. It's a trap, guys. It's a trap. Just letting you know. And those who know, you know. Ooh, yeah. And then the sellers themselves, homeowners will do all sorts of stuff. We got a couple different types of homeowners. We got the DIY weekend warriors. They want to make some changes to their house, and they really think it out. They do make it all fancy. And then when you get there, you can see the blueprints sitting on the kitchen table and see that they overframed everything. Like, it's just way overbuilt. It's ridiculous. Then you got the sellers that are the never done honey-do list, right? You got the half-painted wall, you got a kitchen cabinet missing, and then on the kitchen table, you got the divorce papers. Not a good situation. And then there's the more willing than able. These are the ones that scare me. These are the ones that scare me, right? It's like the ones that Home Depot loves because it's you can do it yourself, we'll help, and they go. I've seen roof trusses that were made out of old pallets nailed together. Just craziness, the wiring that's just half put together, and then on the kitchen table you see the last manifesto right there. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to get out of here. And then one of the best parts about being a business owner that I love the most is the opportunity to give back to our communities, right? Through community service, through donations. In our state, we've sponsored and supported the New Mexico Cancer Foundation. We've done community for schools, and we've been a part of a lot of fundraisers for our communities, which is so amazing. It's a blessing to be able to do that. And if you want to support your real estate community, make your donations to your Alcoholics Anonymous chapter. Thank you. Thank you.